Yeah, right.
I did say it was a dream.
Yes, you did. Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Our next writer, Mr. Frank Rutledge, Fox Valley author of poetry and short fiction. He is the current facilitator of the Batavia Writers Workshop at the library. He hosts the harmonious Howl Open Mic at Grams 318 in Geneva. He is a member of Writers Anonymous, an improv writing group, the St. Charles Writers Group, and the Fox Valley Writers Group in North Aurora. Frank, come on up here.
Hello. Gosh, if I would have known that growing up, being a poet, I would have taken karate too. That would have came in handy. The first poem I want to read is from a brand new collection of writers from the Fox Valley, actually up and down the Fox Valley. We're part of a writers group at Messenger Library in North Aurora, and it's the Fox Valley Writers Group facilitated by our own Kevin Moriarty. We've produced 2 books. Last year we've done Fox Tales, which is a collection of our authors in the group, and Fox Tales 2, pretty creative name. And Fox Tales 2 just came out. We have it on Amazon. If you're interested, if you like what you hear, you can find some of the stuff here. I have a chapbook of poetry this year and some flash fiction. But I'm going to read the poem, and I've never read off my Kindle. And I only own a Kindle. I'm a book lover, but I only own a Kindle because I have books on Kindle. So I had to do that. This is a poem called Creation Myth. Morning arrives like a shy guest, soft and under the radar of awakening. Sunlight slowly streams across the living room floor, warm and inviting. Both cats know where they need to be for bliss to envelop them, purring. The humans of the house set about their daybreak greetings and ritual ways. Married couples growing mindful of all activities that will dance off pages of calendars. The cats lie long in the fury-leisured luxury, stretching only to plan to do nothing. Morning is the bottom of a roller coaster hill climb, and we spend the rest of the day poised between exhilaration and the downhill swish of being a busy human. The cats welcome us home, hungry for attention, as if they are the reason we are created. Who is to say we weren't? I want to read a very quick poem out of the collection because we have so many poets here. When I was learning how to write and learning poetry, we were taught all kinds of poets, and some of them were really fun and became poets that I read to this day, and others puzzled me. And one of them was William Carlos Williams. I didn't understand. I understand more now that I've been writing poetry for many, many years. But I never understood the Red Wheelbarrow. We probably all read that in high school. And he also has another famous poem called This Is Just to Say. And I never got it. So I had to do a rebuttal. And this is called Dear William. This is just to say, those plums you ate and found so sweet and so cold were an experiment, heavily sprayed with pesticide. Forgive me. This is called a useful application of the arts. I want to give you the elongated attention of a novel, one of those snowy epic Russian novels where the escaping lovers cross Siberia by train, taking up a 1/4 inch of a 3-inch thick book. I want to seduce you like a twisty melody above chords, the tempo, a steady heartbeat, sure on the downbeat, the meaning of the music spread across the spectrum of strings and woodwinds, your mind making lusty lyrics. I want to give you the immediacy of a landscape in oils, vibrant colors stirring emotions like a wind-box kite. The gray-silver horizon on the approaching promise, and in the forefront, wildflowers, the colors of my longings. This is called refrigerator hierarchy. Cold pizza wrapped in tinfoil, you are not a leftover. You are my patient treasure awaiting the praise of my morning taste bud worship. One last can of beer, my frayed nerve healer, my weekend guru, there is always a place for you in the desire of my liquid longing. Last slice of chocolate silk pie, you are the proof and evidence of heaven's promise come to earth. Asparagus spears, don't give up hope. Someone will love you yet. This is called Confessions of a Sad Voyeur. It just struck me how peculiar that for a weekend entertainment, I watch hour on top of hour the Food Channel. People eating a variety of foreign edibles and spouting their opinions of taste and texture. Yet there is no prayer channel where we can observe the religion in the act of supplication, or a hospital recovery station where we may witness the minuscule movements toward a patient's miraculous healings. Cable TV has replaced my need for action when during primetime dinner hour, I, with my voyeuristic appetites, sit in front of a screen eating ramen noodles and Diet Pepsi, and am content to observe mating rituals of bachelors and bachelorettes and all of its glorious high-def drama, observing hour-long episodic unions and rejections of the human animal with commercial breaks. And I'm not a big TV watcher, and I don't drink beer, so poetry can be fiction. This is called the October Slant. The October Slant makes me susceptible to myths. This is the season of the storied haunts. Twilight floats like a glimmering convention of a ghastly. A climate thick with the wonder of reveries, ripe harvest for the hunt of phantoms, unearthed memories from summer attic hot chests. Fireflies scared up from winter, fearing flora. The regretting of unbirthed wishes, symbols of a passing season, emblems of specter thoughts. Fleeing are the feather breezes of the June promise, overtaken by the climate of an approaching bareness, alerted by the shiver of an unseen brushing across a blood-warm arm. This weather houses sly legends, storm heavy with a mind full of melancholy questions. What is this strange sensation? Apprehension of a distant glow, a curious suspension of a known reality. What are the reasons for this bewilderment? Maybe the monochrome wisp, this atmosphere of air moving like fog clouds, shadowing blue sky, creating mysteries. At dayfall, the bonfire urged to flare away in evening-tide darkness. Crackle of history wood and flame red dancing arises the guard against imagined glow of eyes situated along the outskirts and dim edges of this man-made sunshine. At this time of year, it seems that insect groans mimic the laments of a lost soul. The dreaming tree swaying, taking the shape of skeleton, branch against bare branch, squealing like floorboards of a house haunted at the midnight distance, listening to the sounds of a local woodland. An otherworldly music erupts, orchestrating macabre and overtone loud, preparing for Act 7, Scene 3, this drama foreshadowing the final act of a breath alive, escaping the mortal grasp. It's an ancient ritual to pierce through darkness with the hungry dream of oncoming light. All around this theater called nature, web connecting life, the dust to the water, we of the human being hold tight to the promise of living, turning away from the unknowable split of dying and seek out the warmth of all the happy endings. And one more. I was struggling, as poets do, with identity. Who am I? You know, we have those questions when we're young, we have those questions when we're old. And so I wrote a poem called Nothing is Simple About Being Me. My identity is a loose-fitting garment, scratchy as a First Communion outfit. The search for who I am is as annoying as swallowing ice cream after a tonsillectomy. My identity is on the loose, like a car trunk, hip-hop bass booming along the skyscraper canyons of a deserted 3 a.m. Chicago street. My identity is a nipping of a lapdog at my tender ankles of perception, gnawing at me with her, "Who are you?" My identity is the unedited novel, babbling with run-on sentences, sitting on God's nightstand for months now. My identity is a chocolate bar melting in the accusatory heat of the rich man's sunshine. My identity is the Buddhist's koan, just on the verge of tipping into the understandable meaning of nirvana. My identity is the sideshow performer spitting dirty tricks with a bump of rhythm and rhyme to convince the town folk to spare their pocket change and feed me, the universal orphan. My identity is a skinny miracle just waiting to happen in the dim early light of plump daybreak. My identity is a work of progress with his feet dangling from the perch high upon the bestseller list. My identity is dependent on attention and the juicy promise of kisses for a job well done. My identity will stand outside the gates of heaven, blowing on a spiritual kazoo, reciting favorite memorized lines from Leaves of Grass. My identity is too stubborn to run on the dull, straight rails of someone else's train. My identity finds it wise to end on the silent meaning in between two perfect words. My identity doesn't believe in goodbyes, mindfully heading off into the direction of another beginning. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Frank just learned about 2 hours ago he was reading tonight since we had a writer call in sick, so I'm pretty convinced he wrote a couple of those poems out in the car right before the show here. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
A couple more announcements. Gibby's.